guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you some of my favorite books growing up. These books are perfect if you're around the age 10 to 13 because the characters in these books are also around that age too. These books are super fun, lighthearted, and relatable to that age group. And they're absolutely perfect if you want to get into reading because these books really allow my imagination to open up, and these books are the reason I'm the bookworm I am today, so please stick around and find out about them.
We've been up for way too long, but I don't wanna come down. Caught up in a long free fall, you got me off of the ground.
Okay, so the first books we have is Nancy Drew and the Clue Crew collection. The ones that I'm holding here are the collection of the first 5 books of the series. It has like almost 30 some books, and it centers around Nancy, Bess, and George. They're cousins who start a detective club and they go around their town figuring out clues and mysteries that help out their neighborhood. It's super lighthearted, nothing serious, just some kid sort of problems, but they're super fun, super cute, and just really wholesome in general. These books have like a 3 out of 5 in my book because now that I'm older, they're just kind of boring. But I bet when I was younger, it was really fun, really interesting, and each story is a different mystery that they solve. And it's just fun figuring it out too with them, how things became to be. And it's just super cute. They're like little kids just solving problems, but they're super smart. And I find their friendship and their teamwork really admirable. So yeah, I think these books are really good. They're super fun and just like in general a 3 out of 5. Now that I'm older, but definitely probably a 5 out of 5 when I was younger. They're not boring, surprisingly, even though I reread them. They're just, compared to other books that I've read now that I'm older, they're just a little bit on the boring side, but not complaining because these books are just fun in general. Okay, so the next 2 books we have is The Indian in the Cupboard and its sequel, The Return of the Indian. Both of these books are pretty good, but honestly, I prefer the first book over the second book just because I feel like the sequel kind of throws off the story. But both books are really good. Anyway, the first book is about this guy in England named Omri, and he gets a gift from his friend Patrick, which is a little toy Indian, and he puts the mini plastic Indian toy in a cupboard and he locks it with a mysterious key. Next thing you know, when he opens it, his toy suddenly comes to life into a mini Indian, which he named Little Bear. So this story is sort of about the adventures of Little Bear and Omri and how he hides it, how he tries to make Little Bear live and somehow manage to get him back to his world. And then the second book is not my favorite, honestly. It's basically Omri, Patrick, and Little Bear and another toy cowboy who get reunited again. They're back to life. They came from the cupboard, and it's their adventures on how they figure out what's happening in their own worlds. But the first book gets a 4 out of 5 stars for me, and the second book gets a 3 out of 5. Both books are really good. They give the same vibes of like books you read in literature class, and they also have pretty cute drawings with it that really put life into the story, so totally recommend. So the next 3 books we have is The Diary of the Wimpy Kid, and as you can see, these aren't exactly in order. There's like a whole series kind of deal, but I think the books are fine as standalones too. You can still get what's happening. So basically these books are supposed to be in the format of like you're reading the diary of a wimpy kid in middle school named Greg Hevley. He's such an interesting character. He's so funny, so relatable, so full of flaws, and that's what makes him interesting. Because most books Their main characters are so heroic, so courageous, so perfect, but clearly Greg Heffley is the opposite of that. And I think that's what makes it super fun, because he's just like a normal boy. Not even normal, he's like kind of weird, but like that's what makes it interesting. I feel like his stories you can really relate. It feels like you're an insecure middle schooler, which is perfect because that's how a lot of people feel. And to see that in a form of a book is just so fun. It has so many images. It's almost like reading a comic book basically, except it's considered a book. It's such a classic. Like I feel like you can't go through life without at least reading one of these, or at least understanding what it's about. It's just super fun, super funny. Like if you don't want a serious book, then this is what you read. 5 out of 5 stars. They're just honestly the epitome of chaotic but fun. They are such classics. It's a gem to read, even though it's not exactly good role models for kids, but no one's complaining. It's just for fun. So yeah, recommend. 10 out of 10. Okay, so the next one we have, you can tell just how much I love these series because of the amount of books that I have. So basically, imagine Greek mythology, but make it middle school. It's like super fun. They like adapt these different Greek mythological heroes, gods, creatures into stories. Like it's not accurate per se, but honestly, if it were accurate, then you'd probably be scared of it. But they put their own little fun, creative twist into it, and that's what makes it really good. They have it's centered around different goddesses, such as Athena, Artemis, Nyx, Aphrodite, Medusa, and it's just centered around the lives of goddess girls. They're basically going to school on Mount Olympus, and they're trying to figure out how to be good goddesses, how to be good gods, and how they should treat people. So it's super fun. It's like centered around middle school. They like deal with all these crushes on boys, and they go to prom, they do athletic activities, they have bullies, they have problems with each other, they have good friendships, and it's just a roller coaster. Each book is centered around a different goddess story, and it's super fun. It's like so creative how they changed each of these mythological stories into their own little twist, as if they were going to middle school. And it's so wholesome, yet so cute, yet it has depth. It has lessons behind it, which I think is really nice. It's really good for middle school girls because it's honestly pretty relatable, and it's just super wholesome to read in general. These books are like a 5 out of 5. I've had such a fun time reading them. The first book I had was the one about Nyx, but after that I became so obsessed with the series. I kept asking my parents to buy me more of these books, and I honestly loved each and every one of them. They were all so good. And I'm not really the type who has patience with series unless they're really good, so you have to know that these are really good. There's even more books centered around different characters, so you have a lot of options. You don't even need to read it as a series. They can all just be standalones. They're honestly so fun. They really made my childhood. 5 out of 5 stars. Perfect, beautiful. Okay, so next up we have the Tuesdays at the Castle book series. These books are just so amazing. These really got me into fantasy. This opened up a whole new genre of books that I never really experienced, and this really made me the fantasy book lover that I am today. These books are like a great way of introducing fantasy into your life. It's basically about this magical castle and this royal family that lives in that magical castle. The royal family obviously faces a lot of things, a lot of problems, but the castle is alive. It's always watching out for them, especially this one special princess named Sally. And this castle can just make anything appear out of thin air. From griffins to people to new rooms. It's not always easy living in a magical castle, but it sure does help sometimes when you need it. So Sally and her family are trying to figure out the mysteries of their castle, and they face a lot of dangerous magical stuff, wizards, griffins, and other mythical creatures. And these books are just so fun. These books are absolutely amazing. These books are definitely a 5 out of 5 to me. These books are one of my favorites out of this entire book recommendations video. And it's really good for people who just want to dip their toes or try out fantasy, because it's not confusing at all and it doesn't have any weird or uncomfortable ideas in it. It's very tame and it feels like you're in this whole other world, whole other dimension, and it really brings the reader into another world, which is why I love it so much. The last and final book recommendations I have for this video is the Percy Jackson series. Yes, this book is very popular and very well known, but for good reason. Once you read this book, you will totally understand the hype. This book is so original, such a classic. It feels like you don't even have a childhood if you didn't read this book. So these books are based off of Percy Jackson, who is a demigod. He's half god and half human. He is the son of one of the Greek gods in mythology, but turns out they're present in our everyday lives. It is a modern world, yet there's still Greek mythology going around. It's Greek mythology but in a modern twist, and it's its own story itself. It centers around him and his other demigod friends and his adventures as he tries to figure out the world of Greek mythology. He's basically saving the world every other book, but hey, that's what we love about him. He's a hero, and these books are so interesting. They have everything you would need, from great characters to great storytelling to interesting plot to thrilling plot to fight scenes to romantic scenes to cute scenes to heartbreaking scenes. It's just an emotional roller coaster with this book, and that's what makes it so amazing. 5 out of 5 stars. Definitely recommend. You need to read this book. It is my top recommendation in this video, and you can't go living without it.